viewers, this is Afri-Hope TV. We are here today with another episode with my colleague, Lavin Jeda. Lavin, say hi to the viewers.
Thank you very much, Afri-Hope TV. I think I am beginning to love this TV. The only TV which is giving me hope that Africa can be liberated. Anyway, I'm very happy to be back here on Afri-Hope TV, and I greet you all. Good afternoon.
All right, good afternoon. Okay, today we are going to talk about something precious, about Gambia, something that God gave Gambia, you know, something unique. That is the River Gambia. How do you think the River Gambia can be utilized for the betterment of the Gambia?
And I think for every continent or every country which will talk about, fortunate, it's like we'll be talking about natural features.
Sure.
Those natural features are the one that are provided at ready-made for you.
Sure.
Yet we have seen a Gambia having a river. That river which can be utilized safely for the betterment of Gambians themselves. Gambian River has many unique functions that it can play in the Gambia. The youth can engage themselves into fishing activities, so that they have greater income that will help to support them in themselves individually, and also support their family and the state at large. And also the utility can also be extended, like an agricultural lands which are freshwater swamps that are located along the banks of this river Gambia. They can all be irrigated to be used safely, and they can produce crops in abundance.
Like Jahali Pachar, yeah.
Exactly, like Jahali Pacha Rice Project. I think that rice project was functioning to its greater strength well before we were born. But we realized that nowadays the place is no more, or if it is functioning, but it is of less benefit as how it is supposed to be before. Zahali Pacha Rice Project used to do very well in this country because we have learned that in history. Even though we knew that we were not present during that time, but history told us how beautiful and green that irrigated land used to be.
Thank you very much. Okay, what is the thing leading to the under usage or lack of required benefit of the
River Gambia.
Gambia?
Yeah, it's so sad, it's so unfortunate and unnerving. We have seen, practices that are happening in our rivers that is trying to, drag away our own citizens of its use. Could you imagine, since the Chinese are present on this land, we do not see peace at our rivers. Every day you will hear a complaint from either a fisherman, a local fisherman, a citizen of this country will lodge a complaint about shortage of fishes. But any day, Gambian citizens themselves say today there are no good catch, but the Chinese will harvest
Sure.
as usual. So what are some of the things that are making this possible? If we give our river, surrender it completely to Chinese, and they are using our rivers in a larger fraction than us. The Chinese are having benefits that we are not having in our rivers. The underdevelopment is that the government has given privilege to Chinese than her citizens. And if continuously the privilege is never shifted to Gambian people or the Gambian young men or the Gambian women in the rivers, the Chinese will continue to swallow the benefits of the Gambian river, River Gambia, not the citizens of the Gambia. That is under privilege is given to Gambian citizens. And this is so unfortunate and unnerving. In fact, it is causing something in us which is pernicious.
Okay, looking at the river, you made mention about China, but not only China is utilizing the river, but EU is giving grants to be able to use the river. Senegal, our neighboring country here, is also having access to Gambian rivers. They would come here, fish anyhow they want, take it to their country. Don't you think uh, those countries like China, Senegal, and European Union, that's the EU, can buy fish from us? I mean, we can buy trawlers, give it to our soldiers, the navy, or give it to our fishermen to go in the rivers, fish, bring the catch and sell it to them.
That is a very, very good recommendation. I think we will do as the formula for accelerated change in Rwanda, place 8 parts in that country. As Paul Kagame would say, everything will be made, everything which is produced raw in Africa must be made in Africa so that we give it to them ready made. I think this is the journey that we should start as Africans. We know that we have the raw materials, and these raw materials could be used, and we can let us not only attract them to come and take the raw material from us so that they will go and process that one, and if they process it they will bring it back to us as Gambians or as Africans, and we are going to buy that one from their own prices. No, let us sell it to them. Let us try and add value to our raw materials so that when we add value to them we can produce semi-finished goods and finished goods, and if we produce this thing we can sell it to them. Right now the Senegalese are even having more benefits in our river than the Gambian themselves. Every day a Gambian man is crying at the river. Every day a Gambian woman is crying at the river. I was on a talk with someone who is from Gunjur, one of the coastal villages in the Gambia, and that person was trying and he was speaking to me in a mood that, in fact, you have to sympathize that the people living in those coastal areas are not having great benefit from the river as the foreigners are having. Yet the Senegalese are doing this to Gambians. They are coming here and they will fish in our ocean, to however extent they may want it to be.
Sure.
And the Gambian government will not say anything about it. Not so. And the Chinese also are fishing illegally. And European Union also. Look, I told you the last time the policies that these people are bringing, that the Westerns and the Europeans, these policies are never good for Africa. They are always exploiting or looting our resources. These are the policies that if they bring, our African leaders will adhere to. And if they don't adhere to these policies, then therefore they are going to terminate the bond between them. So that they will say, maybe if we don't adhere to these policies, we will not have opportunities to travel, to sit in first-class flights, so that we travel to Berlin in Germany, or so that we travel to Bonn in Germany, or so that we travel to Washington DC or Philadelphia or Texas. So this is it.
In fact, many bonds were terminated when Magufuli came into power, but that does not deter Tanzania from
Developing.
I think that was the time Tanzania even started developing.
Yes.
Because yes, everything is done by. If in fact, throughout his tenure, his time in office, he have not traveled out of the country. His traveling is restricted, just internal.
It's just internal, limited.
The country has
You know what exactly matters is, when we have a leader with great vision and great characters, that leader is never worthy in our African soil. So that is what Africa is That is the dramatic situation in Africa,
mm,
because John Pombe Magufuli was a visionary leader, and he has such enthusiastic characters to propel his country from where it is to another level or to a greater altitude. Yes, the white men know that.
mm,
Actually, this man has a vision, and they shall never kowtow with him. They shall never understand. They shall never understand with him what he is doing. They will not, because the man is visionary, and it is only the half-baked, politicians who are leaders and they cannot think very well. Those are the people who are fully and entirely manipulated. And today, Africa, 98% of our African leaders are not the leaders that we want. Only 2% are the leaders of hope, and those are the people that we put our hopes in, that they can liberate us. And those leaders need to have people in around their circle who can work with them, You understand? So this is the reality.
I even learned that Chinese would send away Gambian fishermen or Gambians that go close to the river where they are in Sanya and Gunju. Okay? So this is so tragic. And another time I saw on social media the kite that they got the kite that they are throwing. I mean, if you see fish that they caught, and these fish, those fish are already spoiled. I mean, because they caught this fish.
It's like in our rivers, the kind of trawlers that they have,
Yes.
they will catch a lot of fish. They will catch a lot of fish, and in that, majority of the fishes which are small,
Yes.
they which are even it doesn't like it has to catch so many fishes,
Yeah.
and the one they are interested in, I would say that deliberately,
Yes. Yes.
the ones that they are interested in, those are the fishes that they will collect, and the rest they throw it, they dump it into the river. And it is when you go to beach side for your evening walks, those are the fish that you found lying on the shore. They are already dead fish, and the Gambians do not consume from them, the Chinese do not consume from them, and they just went, they just went
Yeah.
without
And
consumption.
they went again.
Who are the cause of this? Is this not in fact causing damage to our society? Look, Kenyans are very wicked at our rivers, but because they have the order from our government, our government needs to do something. We can improve the standard, or let me say our rivers. It's so sad. It's so sad, but they will not help us to industrialize,
I think
our nation, so the youth can use those areas to generate something.
I think the problem is with our leaders, with our governments and African governments, because looking at what Chinese are doing there, it's signed by the Gambian government that the Chinese are going to do some developments. That's
Good.
bridges and roads that were built around URR and other places.
That
So those, infrastructural developments that were done in those places were done in exchange of the river. So the Chinese are now abusing the river. In fact, I learned that they used to throw waste into the river.
Sure. What they do is how they process their fish. Chinese in the Gambia, I mean, you can all listen. How they do this. If you go to Gunjur, you will realize that when they transport, like when they will bring mountainous of fishes. If you
Sure.
just at a distance, you will think that is a mountain.
Yeah, sure.
You will see a lot of fishes which are packed together, and they will process them. How do they do their procession? It is in three phases. One, they will process the fish. When they process the fish, the good part of it, and they will try to pack that. From there, the bones are also processed into another, glassy like substance
Yeah.
that they will pack it as well, and they transport it to China. I don't know what do they make it in China for. They are the only one who knows. The Chinese are the only people who knows how that one issues. But we the Gambians, we never know. But we've seen them that even the scale of the fishes, they will try and process everything, and they will pack it and export it. And it is only the unuseful part of the fish which are all embedded together and redumped in our oceans. Is this good for us? First, this can cause disease to we the Gambian people, because when we consume when we drink from that water, whatsoever can happen to us. If you go to some places, it's not common in the Gambia here. It's not common here. It's not common, but if you go to some places, they drink from river waters. And what about if the river is polluted? And those people can have stomach disorder. And that is coming right now if the Chinese are polluting our river, because we are even going to the river to have our Sunday picnics there so that we enjoy ourselves. And in that you'll be drinking from water, because you consume even small amount of water in you. You understand? But now what happens? What we should do is, how can we take Chinese away? We are not going to take away. We are not going to take them away, not to do any business with them or any bilateral agreement. But let us know that any agreement that we are doing with Chinese, let it also be a benefit for Africans, or for we the Gambians. Like if it cannot be 50-50, or like if it is my own soil, it will be 70-30. If the Chinese do not understand that on my country, or in my country, we should do our bilateral agreements by 70-30, then therefore let them go to any other places that they can have, but not this country. This is what our leaders should be saying. You understand? What is stupidity? What I understand, imagine, take example, Ghana is also being the largest producer of cocoa.
Oh, sure.
Patrice Lumumba will say the chocolates are made in Switzerland. Is that not madness? That is madness, and that is stupidity. You understand? Why can't the Ghanaian make value to those cocoa so that the chocolates and other nutritious foods or whatsoever can be produced in Ghanaian soil? It can come to the Gambia. We don't know what Chinese are even doing with the scale of our fish that we think is not even important, but they take it. They know why they use it for, why they are taking it, and how it is used for. You understand? So let our government try, to help the citizens and the youth to be able to use our African leaders or our Gambian river for the betterment of Gambians, or not for anything. I think that one will be very, very good. Yeah, sure.
Well, one question every Gambian ought to ask himself is, what is so special about the River Gambia that the EU can give grants in exchange of the river? China can bring development projects in exchange of the river. We have to ask ourselves these questions. And we have to know that there are fish in the Gambian river that you and I, who are Gambians, have never even set eyes on. But these fish are being caught and exported to China, Europe. You look, this is Gambia. This is Gambia we are living.
That is so sad. Logically, if we can focus, let me say, or not only focus, but logically, if we can, make very good use of our minds, we will realize that the white try to leave everything in West, and they are coming to the Gambia to pay for the Gambian river in exchange. We have to know that there is a hidden agenda.
There is something.
You understand? So, but we as Africans will never know what we are losing, because we think that river is naturally supplied and it is not artificial. But the Chinese and the Western will build their continent with the resources in Africa, and still you can go back to Africa and see them wallowing in poverty. And I think this is another tragedy. You will see them coming, and even tomorrow you will see them coming. Even next week you will see them coming. They are coming every day, and they are all competing for Africa. You understand?
And Africa is food. It's food. They have to eat. As far as there is food, as far as Africa is existing, they must come.
Just like how I term Africa, I term the world as an egg, and that egg, if you crack it, what do you see? You have the albumen, and you have the albumen. Then break this, you have the yolk, and the yolk is the yellowish one, and that is the most nutritious aspect of the egg. And Africa is a yolk, whereby other continents in the world are the albumen, but Africa alone is a yolk. And now all over the world, people are competing to dine from the yolk because the yolk is the most nutritious. So, an African people, African leaders need to know this. Why shouldn't we make our own yolk, our own food? That is the question. Why shouldn't
at
we?
this
African
point,
leaders are sometimes not even going in line with what we know as ordinary citizens in the streets. Sometimes you even think that they are not leaders whom, that is crazy.
this point is very like Africa being an egg. I mean, Africa being a yolk and the world being the egg. It's like looking at the world how it is arranged. Africa is in the center.
Exactly.
If you look at the world map,
Sure.
the globe,
Sure.
Africa is in the center.
Sure.
All other continents are. But what is so telling about this is that God did this, carefully.
Yes, sure, exactly.
Because if you look at Africa, almost in every African country, there is something unique
Sure.
that is not found in
Any
part
other
of-
continent, but it's found in Africa.
It's found in
The beauty
Africa.
of Africa is just extraordinarily, inexplicable.
So I term Africa as a power supply that would give to other continents.
It is radiating its
Yes,
branches
sure.
to every other part in the world, and in
That's
fact,
Africa.
yes, that is it.
But that still Africa. That Africa is still poor.
Yes, in fact, what I understand in the study of ecology, or yeah, you understand, and these people, all other continents in the world are living parasitically on Africa. You understand,
Sure.
and what? If they are dining on Africa, it is not affecting our African identity. I think that one can be understood. Like if the Europe, the Americas, the Asians, the Latin Americans, are dining on Africa, but the Africans themselves also, like we are not feeling it. It rather doesn't disturb us. I think that kind of commensalism, is appreciated. But this one is parasitic. They are living on us while sucking our blood, and our people are affected. Go to your rural African villages that cannot even have a correct or an adequate amount of water to drink. This is sad. I was watching a documentary on High Impact TV in one of Nigeria's TV, High Impact TV. Anyway, wherever you are, I'm your great follower. I follow that TV, High Impact TV. They were making that documentary. One of the environmental NGOs who is a citizen of that part in Nigeria could bother himself to provide a clean drinking water or safety drinking water for that part. You understand? Sure, but Nigeria with her oil. Nigeria is among the top countries in the whole world that is producing large amount of barrels of oil to outside world. What could you imagine? That country cannot provide safe drinking water for every child in that country. It's a tragedy. Come to the Gambia. River Gambia alone, the revenue that the Chinese are generating from our rivers. You understand? Yet, where is that money? And in fact, if we cannot make the good use of our river, I think this is the question we should ask. But not every typical Gambian child has a pencil to go to school. I could remember when I was going to primary school, and you too at that time, I think, imagine some students go to school without a pencil.
Right.
It's so sad and unnerving. They go to school without a book. They go to school without $1 seed. What will they buy? They don't know. But go to your presidents, go to your ministers, go to your permanent secretaries, go to your directors. Their children are driving in Land Rovers. Their children are driving in their own Mercedes Benz.
And in fact, I think that's the worst case. If they are driving Range Rovers, that's the worst case. But most of their children are not even educated here. In fact, if they don't even test a bit of the hardship that a typical African is facing.
Sure, because like it's true in everywhere. You the people watching knows that. Talk about your African presidents. If you can remember their children, remember one right now. Now tell us, where is that person studying? It may not be in African university, a typical African university. No, he may be studying in. If he is colonized by maybe Britain, he is studying in England or maybe Scotland or wheresoever. So that is just the reality. But we just have to understand we the electorates are the one who can bring changes in our society. How can we? By electing a very, very good leader. You understand? I think we have to do something about this. When we are electing our leaders, let us elect leaders of substance, as we always say.
Then the issue of election, we have to forget about instant solutions. If we want to elect good leaders, we have to forget about instant solutions. Not leaders that will give us cooking pots, not leaders that will bring bags of rice for us. Those aren't
I think
leaders.
those ones are just not important in terms of our leadership selection criteria or election criteria. What will you do with cooking pots and whatsoever thing? Even your own blacksmiths can make that one for you. And your blacksmiths are at their workshop, yet those workshops cannot be improved. Yet the government will not go to those workshops to see what are our blacksmiths doing. Are they providing materials with standard? No, they don't even ask themselves. Are they providing things that can be used in our own nation? They will not be talking about it. And yet those people will be crying daily and nightly about lack of fun. What is the government giving them? Nothing. But yet government now, if election come, government is rushing to those people so that they will buy cooking pots and they give you. I think that one, we shouldn't think like that. And now it is becoming so much interesting in the Gambian politics nowadays. Yet when I can see this parliament election coming, there are like young, vibrant individuals who are coming, because I could see that Modu Sabali, who is the heart of the young generation of the Gambia, Sabali is vying for parliamentary seat. And Alpha MKLO also, I think he's also coming. I don't know how authentic it is, but anyway, if we support people like those people who have vision, I think it will be very useful in our society right now, and we can attain change, because change is imminent and change is urgent. We need it and we have to do it. Let us talk about that. When we are electing our leaders, let us elect leaders with vision, but not leaders with cataracts.
Right. Thank you very much, Lamin. And finally, don't you think Gambia is not using its river, but its river is being used by foreigners, let's say China, Senegal, and other people.
It is not used like greater percentage of the Gambian river usage.
Yeah.
If you will percentage it, Gambians are not, we are not that component that use greater amount of our river. In fact, coastal fishing, that one Chinese control that. Chinese are on top,
Sure.
and the Senegalese who are coming from their country and they are coming to our country. Go to inland fishing. Maybe you will find our own fishermen. But those people, do they even have correct hooks that they can use to catch fish? They don't. So what do they produce there? Maybe if it is like, for example, if it is 100% inland fishing, it's very low. The percentage is very low
In
there.
fact, I think they catch for their
Family
personal
daily
consumption.
use, yeah, daily use, yeah, because I'm a typical villager and you are also a typical villager, so you understand. Maybe you stop going to Badibu and other stuff, but I'm still going to Jara, and I know how the situation is. You understand? Normally the fishermen there do go for a daily catch so that they can bring something for the family, and they can have their family consumption and other stuff. And also you can just give, maybe if there's any remaining, you can give it to other family members as well. But now greater amount of feces are they are caught in our coastal rivers, and that's what we are talking about. And our coastal rivers come there, Chinese control it, no doubt. And from the Chinese, now you go to the Senegalese, and the Senegalese, then you come to the Gambia. So this is how the situation is. So tragic, it's so unfortunate and unnerving. Sure.
I think in the long run, it's going to be affect the Gambia because like examining the nets used by China to fish in the river that catches juvenile fish, would at some point bring scarcity of fish
Sure, it's
to the
more
river.
sophisticated.
Good. So therefore, the prices of fish would increase, and ordinary Gambian would not even have fish to eat. Looking at fish is almost a daily consumptive substance. Like,
It's like when we say that one of my points I could remember I said an African child is a sufferer of kwashiorkor. Simply the proteinous feces are harvested illegally in our rivers from our governments to diners. You see, but our government is serving us inimically and inhumanly. This is what is happening right now. So when we say an African child is a sufferer of kwashiorkor, kwashiorkor is a disease that comes when you lack protein in your system. If my if my biology can serve me well, I think you understand. So now, if we are having feast that can remedize that disease kwashiorkor, and we are not consuming from those feces our children, so what do you think about kwashiorkor? It will still have its way. The Gambian needs to eat more proteinous feces, and these feces are only found in the Gambia naturally.
in fact, before going, I just remembered about a lit conversation between one of the officials of fisheries department of the Gambia. He's a full doctor. He's called Doctor something, Doctor Ja. You know, Dr. Banja, something like that. Great audio
Dr. Banya.
contacting Chinese.
Yes.
Telling him the money here is going to,
I think that was a corruption fraud that happened in the Gambia here.
Yes,
You understand?
Full doctor. Your education. Why is it?
Exactly. And at that aspect, he's a leader. Was it not a minister? Or a director? Something like that, you understand? But someone with that high position trying to fraud the nation in their feast transaction with Chinese. I think that is the whole issue why they are even inviting Chinese, so that when those people come, they can have their benefits. Then what do? Is whatever they are given is they percentage it their own, and also they take part of it to government coffers. You understand? But this is corruption. Corruption is very bad. That's why we say corruption is not only at our state house, but corruption is in everywhere. It is everywhere. It is now in everywhere. So this is it.